We took decisive action to stop a ruthless terrorist from threatening American lives.
President Trump had a shot to kill Iran's top general Qasem Soleimani, and he took it. Iran threatened retaliation, and they rained down ballistic missiles on U.S. troops being housed at a base in Iraq. No one was injured or killed. So what comes next? And for that answer, we're going to bring in one of the men who is probably one of the most connected in that region. Has family living in the Middle East. Druze leader for Lebanon and Syria, Sheikh Marwan Maikamzi. Happy New Year to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
I'll tell you what, you have a lot of friends in Iran.
Yes, I do.
What are they saying right now about the tensions there?
The tension is very high in Iran, and what happened is by our president killing Soleimani, he had united the Iranian public against us and with the mullah, but this is not something new. The mullahs and the Iranian regime have been fighting us for the last 43 years, so we are the biggest Satan, and Israel is the second Satan. The attack that took place was in response to a plan that was put together by Soleimani to take our embassy in Baghdad.
To take our embassy in Baghdad.
Yes.
That is the reason. You're saying that is the reason why President Trump ordered the killing?
I'm not just saying that. I have, based on information we received from people in Baghdad. What happened, if we go back to the last 3 months, we had intifada or revolution in Baghdad and in Lebanon to get rid of the influence of Iran, of Hezbollah in Beirut, in Lebanon, and the influence of Hezbollah in the parliament in Iraq. And about 4 weeks ago, or 5 weeks ago, 2 weeks, the people in Iraq been rioting, and we don't hear about it in the news over here. And there was hundreds of people that were dead and thousands were injured. And they forced the prime minister of Iraq, who was a Shia, to resign. And then it was followed by the people attacking the embassy of Iran in Iraq and burning it down.
So Soleimani was going to attack the embassy in Baghdad.
They tried after New Year's, our government issued an order to attack all the bases of 5 bases of Hezbollah in Syria and in Iraq, and they did that. It was followed by Soleimani asking his special forces unit to surround our embassy. So they surrounded our embassy for 48 hours, and then we had some help that came into our embassy, and our president told them under no circumstances we're going to allow Benghazi to be repeated again. And Soleimani was in Beirut. He flew to Damascus and arrived that same night because he was planning to follow through and taking our embassy and taking hostages again. And our president's not going to allow it. It will affect his...
We haven't heard this information in the mainstream media.
You won't hear that information in the mainstream media. It's a very confidential information. And the attack was imminent on our forces. And
so if it's confidential, how do you have the information?
I have it from sources in the Middle East I cannot tell you about.
Sources in the Middle East.
Yes.
Well, I also want to ask this. Qasem Soleimani. Was it an assassination, or was it a must-kill for humanity?
Let's start with the basic questions. Soleimani is the head of the Quds Brigade. The Quds Brigade is the Palestine Jerusalem Brigade. Their goal is to take over Jerusalem and destroy the state of Israel and take over the Middle East and have the empire of the Persian return and take over all the way Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, and the Middle East, and control Islam. So his goal was to get rid of the state of Israel, get rid of the Muslim Sunnah, and control the Middle East. And this not gonna, so he had attacked our forces many times, and the rule of engagement, when our president decided he's going to pull out of the Middle East, they misread it as a weak point.
So President Trump had the shot. He took it.
Yes.
Do you think that was the right call?
Yes, he should have done it a long time ago.
He should have done it a long time ago?
Yes.
Maybe regimes before that, administrations before that should have.
The administration before that failed to deal with the Iranians. They look at us as a weak point. President Obama before him, he gave him $150 billion that's been used by Hezbollah in Lebanon and other forces that they have in Yemen to do terrorist activities against Muslim, Lebanese, Arab civilians, and against American interests in the Middle East.
Soleimani, give me a sense here. Just as dangerous as Saddam Hussein, al-Baghdadi, and Osama bin Laden?
No, he's more dangerous. He's as dangerous as Hitler.
More dangerous as Hitler?
Yes.
And you say that why?
I say it because their goal is to control and take over the Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon and create the Persian Empire. And will not stop there. They'll continue and take over the Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states.
So you talked about how he was planning to attack the embassy in Baghdad.
Yes.
That's why this killing happened.
Yeah, we were not going to allow the same scenario that happened in Benghazi, that he was behind it also.
Was that the only imminent threat? Or was there another threat in the works, according to your sources, that could have hurt American lives?
They've been attacking our forces with side bombings and all of that during the war for the last 4 or 5 years. Their goal, the mullahs' goals, and they're telling you that on TV if you watch it and you watch the Iranian propaganda TV, is to eliminate the presence of American forces in the Middle East. They want us to leave the Middle East. And it's not the best interest for our people, the United States of America, is to leave the Middle East. We cannot be seen as weak. We cannot leave the Arab, like Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Middle East, who are partners over there, and the Israelis. We cannot leave them vulnerable to an attack by the Iranian forces. We made a couple of mistakes. When they took our drone down, we did not reply. When they hit the Saudi oil fields, we did not reply. They took the ship of the British hostage, the British did not reply. So they look at us as a weak. So by this attack is a signal to the Iranian mullah that the game has changed, the gloves are off, and we're still here and we'll be here forever.
Gloves are off. Let me finish with this. Everybody says we're on the brink of war. Do you think Iran, even though they sent those ballistic missiles to the Iraqi bases where we were housing U.S. troops, are we on the brink of war?
I thought we were on the brink of war until an hour and a half before they did the attack. The Iranian defense minister, he called the Iraqi defense minister an hour and a half earlier and told them they were going to attack those 2 bases. And they informed us in advance to move our forces out of harm's way. Mm-hmm. The reason they did that, because they don't want to have direct confrontation with the United States. They will know that our president means business, and they'll know if they were to attack our forces, they have other targets. They could have attacked any of our ships in the Gulf, or they attack our bases in Qatar or any place else. They did not attack us directly because they know if they did, they will be wiped off of the face of the earth. And they don't want to have that confrontation, and they backed off. And now, behind closed doors, they're coming back and they're saying, we will try to see if we can talk about coming back to the table and discuss nuclearization, disarmament of Iran.
All right. Mike Hamzy, appreciate the insight very much.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, a Valley Town Hall with a 4-star general. President Trump's former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly headed to Fresno. Details of his visit next.